Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a pump that doesn't work. I'm going to take it apart. Not sure what's up with it. I know it's seized solid, but I don't know why. And it doesn't start, it doesn't do anything. So today we're going to take it apart and have a look, see what's going on with it, and get on with it. Hit this with a hammer. Right, that's the end cap off. And yeah, it's seized up solid. The fan is moving on the shaft, but the shaft isn't. I'll get the fan off. I think it's only a press fit. Yeah, it's coming. That's it. That's the fan off. Put a pair of grips on the end here. It does turn, so it's not seized absolutely solidly, and that seems to have freed it up somewhat. Good. Yeah. Oh, I think I can hear a bearing that's gone. So the next thing to do is take this piece off, take the motor itself off the pump, and for that we'll take this cover off and take this wire off, so that we can get at and separate the two parts. Alright, take my little tray for the parts. So, oh my god, I don't think you can see that. Look at that. You see that? This here, this is a start capacitor, and it is blown and black, and boy does it smell. Okay, so that could be a problem. It's even melted around the metalwork. Look at that. Burnt away to nothing. So we've got the earth wire here. Just take that off, and then we've got the power wire, positive, and then the negative, or the neutral. I think you people in the States call it a neutral. Got that disconnected, so now we can separate this. Yeah. And what I'm hoping to find is that it's just a failed bearing. Yes, we've got the start capacitor. So long as it hasn't melted the windings, then it will be a fairly simple repair. That's all four of those on. Now we have to take this off, and it should come off in one go. That is stuck solid. Well, I shall try and take this off camera, and when I get it apart I'll come back. Well, that was a task and a half. That's taken me about 2 hours, and the reason it was stuck, it's got all this crud and rust inside, which was holding on this inside here. It's about an inch thick in places. It's absolutely horrible, so it will need to be cleaned up, but at least I've got it apart. God, that doesn't look too brilliant. Well, it's not supposed to be like that, that's for sure. So the next plan of action is to take the impeller apart, and it's looking more and more like this is going to go to the bin. There's quite a few things wrong with this, depending on the motor, I suppose. If the motor is burnt as well, then it is bin fodder, and the only thing that will be salvaged is this part here, because that's an expensive part, and that will be all that will be worth salvaging, I should imagine. That's the one. Okay. Is this going to come off in one hit? turning the whole thing, so pair of grips on the other side. I should imagine it's a right hand thread. Right, there's the nut. And this should come off. Right. I shall work that out and I'll be back in a moment. There you go, after another half an hour of fettling. That was a push fit onto there and it was so tight I nearly broke it taking it off. So that's that off. Now I think we've got more of the same. Looks like another half an hour of messing around. That's the next one. Give it a little squirt of some lubrication. This pump is a nightmare. Aha! And still fighting. Hooray! At last. I'll just give it a little clean up and I'll be back. Well, that's a bit better, a bit cleaner. Right, we've got 3 8mm bolts on the end here, which will have those off straight away. Right. Take the other side off and see if I can pull it out the other way. Well, I'll just take these bolts out and I'll be back. Well, that's all 3 bolts undone. We'll see now if this is going to move or not. Something moved. There's the centre. Oh, and there's the bearing. That bearing seems alright. That's the cap and the spring which goes inside here. Well, that's good. The windings seem intact. They don't look burnt, which is good news. Ah, that's our problem. The bearing in there is seized. We need to take this off, which is the seal. So let's clean this off. So I think the bearing gave out first, coupled with the rust that was inside the pump, and in an attempt to start, it blew the start capacitor. Thankfully, it didn't burn the windings. I'm going to see if I can get this off. Well, it's the next day and I've managed to remove this from the end. I used this, which is a bearing puller, and put this behind that like this, clamped it round the shaft and got it out by drifting the top out and downwards. This is the bearing that came out and it's absolutely seized solid. I found another one in my little stash which is the same size, so I'll be able to replace that. So I'm going to clean this up in the pillar drill. Oh, I got a little bit of 400. I'll probably get it at best a bit better. Much better. I'll try and clean this off. Alright, I've got my bucket. Put that in. Little tiny bit of gunk. Just enough. I've cleaned up inside of that as best I can. Starting to look a bit cleaner. Ready to go back together. Now, if you can see that in there, I have got about half a ton of rust off that. I've just got to get the rest of it off, and then I'll give this a wash out and we'll see if it works. Well, that's all the rust I've got out of it, which I think is enough. I'm going to give this a clean clear up the thing so we've got some space, and lay out all the parts ready to go back together. All the impellers are back together. They're a bit stained on the outside, but they are cleaned on the inside with some white vinegar. So, and it's all moving freely inside, so that should do the job. I'll probably give this a brush once it's bolted on, and get on and put this back together. A little bit of tube here, put that over the top. Drive that on. Perfect. And it's spinning nicely, nice and loose. Right. That seal stays in there. That goes through there. And the bearing should press nicely onto that. Lovely. Spins nice. Oh, with the seal, that goes on. Again, a nice tight fit. That's lovely. And the spacer, because that will allow me to stand it upright. Gravity will help me. Right. Now put the washer in the hole. That's it. And now this. Do these up a little bit at a time, all the way around, otherwise it might go in squint. Oh, lovely. Oh, that turns nice. Right, we'll have the fan back on. Just clump that, a little hammer. That's flush on the end. We've got the guard for it. That can go on. Again, another clump with a hammer. And now we've got a rotating motor. The new bearing. So now put this back on. See if this goes on in one go. I hope it will. Just give it a gentle tap with the tube. Seat it. Washer on the top, and the nut. That's back on and spinning freely. Impeller is back on, all tightened up, ready to go. Just got the pump housing to put back on now, and then we'll get on with the wiring. And this is all cleaned out, ready to go. This should just fit in here. Well, it went in a damn sight easier than it came out, that's for sure. And it just needs tightening up. Put the bolts in. Won't tighten any of them up first. We'll wait until they're all in. Lovely. Nice and tight and nice. I've now got a star capacitor, slightly different from the old one, because this one has spade terminals on it. This one's been sort of butchered. So to make it fit, what I've made a small jumper wire, and that is going to go on there. These haven't got a polarity, and this one goes on here, and that will go on the bottom there, and then let's try and push this in here. It's a bit of a tight fit. Should go in. Oops. That's it. And now this will go to the positive, and hopefully this should start up. Right. Right. And now we've got the lid. Keep the moisture out. And the only thing remaining is to plug it in and see if it actually turns, because if it does, it will be a great win. Okay, so I've got my extension lead and plug it in. It won't run for very long because it's got an automatic cutout on it, but if it does run at all, it'll be a win. Excellent. Looks like we've got one working pump, not for the bin. Thank you very much for watching for this week, and if you did like what you've seen, please hit the like button, and please subscribe, because it'll encourage me to do a bit more. And until next week, bye for now.